We're going to put on the LPU paint on the outside of the linear polyethylene paint, and I'm going to cross-link it with this little bottle of cross-linker. But first I've got an ounce of water here that I'm going to put in, let's see, 2 ounces per, 8 drops per ounce of mix. So I'm going to add 6 ounces to my cup, which I've protected the bottom of, and the ounce on the 7. So I'm going to go in 6, 8, 48. I'll put in 50 drops just to be on the safe side, and then mix that in with the water, and then mix that in with the paint when I put it into the cup too, and then mix it all up and then proceed with it. Let me come back when I get that done. It's just like, it's got a little dropper hole on the end of it, so now I gotta count. Got my count done, and I poured it in, and then I poured in 7 ounces of paint, so I've got an 8-ounce mixture here, which we'll see how far it goes on the first coat and how many coats I get. This doesn't have, I didn't see on the can any like the epoxy primer, 2-part primer, where you got to let it set 15 minutes. This one is just a good mix and go. And this is one of those things where you roll it on, and then you'll see these little bubbles form, and then you come back with a good quality brush and you stroke it out, which they call tipping the finish. You want to be careful with this stuff because it's really runny, and I'll going along to touch up the trim edges first, and then I'll come along and roll on the rest of it. This will be a multi-coat. I don't know how much I get out of the can, at least 3 coats. Let me come back later. This takes most of my attention. Okay, I've got the edges all done, so now it's time to start the roll-out process. Try to get as good a coverage as you can get. Look for drips, those kind of things. Try to get as even as possible. I'll do this one little section, and then I'll tip it with the brush. Start seeing a little kind of like a dragon skin, bubbly orange peel kind of surface. That's just the nature of the beast. Come back when I start. One of the other things you want to do too is make long runs fore and aft. Get as even a surface coat as you can. This stuff is drying really quick. In the summertime, you really got to be on your toes. Okay, enough of the rolling. Now we'll come back with our brush. Let me get a view. And we're just going to lightly tip the finish with the brush. You can see the bubble. Well, I'll try and come in on a closer view. Long, straight strokes. The thing I like about this stuff, if you have a really good finish on your boat, and this helps improve it immensely. All those things will flatten out and go away. All the brush strokes. when you get done, when you're finished with an LPU paint job, it almost looks like you have a gel-coated fiberglass hull. And it's hard as rocks. It's the old adage, you get what you pay for. This is one of those things, if you got a buddy that you trust to come along as you do a one section, say you did the top panel here and then went over to the top panel on the other side to roll out, and your friend is on this side tipping. If this is a bigger boat, I'd have to get some help. Just lightly tip it. I was getting a little nervous because that part I brushed on earlier when I went to roll over the top of it, it was already pretty dry. And that was only about a minute before I started tipping. Okay. Now, got a section in here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do this to the other side, and then we'll come back on a second coat. First coat's on and tipped out, rolled on and tipped. I had extra left over, so on these subsequent batches I'm going to make probably an ounce less because I had enough to give this a coat. I wasn't going to coat this other than the black, but I thought, well, I've got the excess, I'm not going to waste it. So I'll give the black an extra base coat before I put it on, because it came in a small jar. So I'll have a good coverage over the primer now. So let me go ahead and clean everything up, and we'll come back after this is dried. I don't know if it's going to be able to do anything this afternoon, and maybe just the one coat today. So we'll come back. First coat's dry. Before I get the second coat on, I want to go ahead and put my keel strip. I wouldn't get to the hardware store today. Yesterday I remember I had to go to the hardware store for some reason. I couldn't remember what, the keel strip. So now I'm going to get this fitted in while the hull is dry, and then once I get this done and the preliminary screw holes drilled, then I will go ahead and paint the hull with the second coat. I may go ahead and mix up some Gel Magic, and once I get the screw holes centered in this and into the pilots into the wood, then I'll overbore them and fill them with Gel Magic so I can come back and bore them later, but it's set. Keep the water out of the way. I have my aluminum strip drilled, counterbored. Now I've got it located in place, so now I can use my hand to roll this over, and so now I got a nice smooth edge here. I got my lower gudgeon fits in here, so I'll probably stop it back up in here somewhere. So let me get my pencil and cut it off, and then I'll re-drill it, and then we'll come back. Instead of taking this thing off, I just put a block of wood in behind and then cut it off, and then filed it in shape with that block of wood in behind it to protect the finish on the surface here. I've got it in and screwed. I've got to take it off now and do some touch-ups, and I need a little bit more countersinking on this screw, but now I've got it done. And I'll put a little more bevel on this, and so now I got the bottom of the hull will have some protection for when you back it into the water. Keep this from all getting chopped up and grounding. I've got all this metal dust and stuff around now, so I've got to give it a good vacuum job before and all the crooks and crevices to get all the filings out, and then we'll go back to the second coat on this LPU paint.